Imagine tapping by on a new smartphone,
Right.
right? And before you've even finished making your morning coffee, a drone just drops the package onto your balcony.
I mean, yeah, that scenario sounds completely fabricated, like something straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Exactly. But that sub 10-minute airborne turnaround is actually the reality currently being piloted in Bengaluru.
It's wild to think about.
It is. We've literally gone from tolerating this, 3-day logistical black hole for online orders to, well, to tapping our feet if a fresh batch of groceries or a phone charger takes longer than 15 minutes to arrive.
Yeah, the psychological shift alone is just fascinating. We are entirely rewriting the social contract of consumerism.
Right, moving away from that old idea of waiting being the price of convenience.
Exactly. Now we're just demanding near instantaneous gratification as a baseline utility. It's the new normal.
So to figure out how this hyper-accelerated reality actually functions behind the scenes, we're doing a deep dive into a monumental May 2026 research report.
Right, the one by ICICI Securities.
Yep, it's titled Decoding New Age Tech in India. And let me tell you, we are talking about over 5,000 man-hours of research poured into this document.
It's a massive undertaking. I mean, they analyzed more than 20 subsegments and over 170 companies.
So our mission for today's deep dive is to extract the most compelling narrative from that massive landscape, specifically the explosive rise of quick commerce or Q-commerce.
Yeah, we really want to understand the physical mechanisms making these 10-minute deliveries possible. Like, who is actually winning this multi-billion-dollar turf war?
And what this high-speed reality means for your future. Because, understanding this space is vital for you right now.
Absolutely. This isn't just about figuring out the logistics of your late-night snack delivery.
No, not at all.
You are looking at the architectural blueprint of future urban life. This logistics network is quietly and rapidly reshaping our city infrastructure.
It's redefining the labor market, too.
Yeah, and fundamentally altering how we value our own time.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because before we can genuinely grasp how a 10-minute delivery works mechanically, we need to look at the macroeconomic bedrock.
Right, the foundation making it all possible.
Yeah. So historically, technology adoption happens in 3 distinct sequential stages. First, a country has to, build out the physical hardware and the underlying infrastructure.
Yeah, the heavy lifting.
Exactly. Then software developers come in to optimize those new capabilities. And finally, you get the consumer products and services built on top to solve real-world problems.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that 3-stage evolution explains why India's current trajectory is just completely unprecedented.
How so?
Well, ICICI Securities points out how rapidly India is closing the global tech gap.
Yeah.
Back in the early 2010s, India was trailing China's digital evolution by roughly 20 years.
20 years, wow.
Yeah, but today, that gap has shrunk to just about a decade.
Slashing a development gap in half over such a short window. I mean, that requires a staggering amount of momentum.
It really does. And as we transition into the artificial intelligence era, that gap is compressing even further.
Right, because of the sovereign AI push?
Exactly. The government is actively backing sovereign platforms like Sarvam AI, rather than just, waiting to import global tools.
And private companies are stepping up too, right?
Oh, massively. Domestic companies have pledged over $200 billion toward Indian AI infrastructure over the next decade.
$200 billion? That's insane.
Yeah. So while the U.S. still leads with massive capital deployment schedules for CY26, the lag between India and the global frontier is it's smaller than it has ever been in any previous technological generation.
So we are essentially looking at a country hitting a massive structural inflection point.
Exactly. The report actually compares India's current moment to that famous 2006 to 2012 discretionary spending boom in China.
Oh, right, where per capita income doubled and retail sales just skyrocketed.
Spot on. India's GDP per capita has entered that exact same income band that triggered China's digital consumption takeoff.
But, there's something that makes India's situation entirely unique, right?
Yeah, it's the foundational digital backbone supporting this boom. I mean, India currently boasts roughly 970 million internet subscribers.
That's almost 1 billion people online.
Right, and they consume the highest amount of mobile data per user globally. Plus, the Unified Payments Interface, or UPI, is smoothly processing between 15 and 20 billion transactions every single month.
Wait, 15 to 20 billion every month?
Every single month.
That is just wild. I like to think of UPI like giving every single citizen a universal digital easy pass.
That's a great way to put it.
Right. So when these new quick commerce companies launched, they didn't have to spend billions building complex toll booths.
Or teaching people how to navigate online payment.
Exactly. The digital superhighway was completely frictionless from day one. All these companies had to do was, put the items in the cars and hit the gas.
And that frictionless environment is the key variable here. It drastically compresses the adoption curve for any new technology.
Because the payment and connectivity stuff was already solved.
Yeah. Because those foundational layers were completely sorted, retail was able to violently mutate into its third most aggressive form without the usual growing pains.
We just leaped right over traditional e-commerce. I mean, we all know the second generation of commerce, right?
The massive, centralized mega warehouses.
Yeah, located way outside city limits. They offered infinite selection, but you had to wait 2 to 3 days for the courier networks to navigate the distance.
Right. And quick commerce is the third generation, promising delivery in under 60 minutes and frequently, in 10 to 15.
Which brings us to the engine making that possible, the dark store.
Yeah, the dark store, which is essentially a hyper-local micro-warehouse.
I always thought dark stores sounded slightly ominous, like a secret bunker.
It does sound a bit dystopian, yeah.
Huh.
But unlike those sprawling fulfillment centers of the past, these facilities only span about 3,000 to 8,000 square feet.
Oh, so they're actually pretty small.
Very small. And they are packed directly into the most densely populated urban residential clusters.
But they're dark because they are entirely closed to the public, right?
Exactly. You won't find cashiers, pleasant ambient lighting, or, display windows. Every single square inch of that space is mathematically optimized for speed.
So how does a 10-minute turnaround actually function in there?
Well, the layout is completely dictated by advanced inventory management systems. So high-velocity items, the milk, the bread, the things people order constantly, they're placed closest to the packing stations.
Makes sense.
Heavy items are at the bottom, fragile items at the top. The aisles are designed so a human picker can move in a single continuous U-shape without ever backtracking.
Wow, literally shaving off seconds wherever they can.
Yeah. The moment you finalize your order, the system generates the most efficient physical pass for the picker. They grab the items, bag them, and hand them off to a dedicated in-house delivery rider who's already waiting at the dispatch door.
And all that happens in what, like 2 minutes?
About 2 to 3 minutes, yeah.
Okay, but I have to ask. Because securing 8,000 square feet in prime Bengaluru or Mumbai real estate burns cash at an astronomical rate, I have to wonder about the sustainability here.
It's a fair question.
Like, is this actually a widespread economic shift or just a highly subsidized luxury for a few impatient city dwellers who forgot an ingredient for dinner?
Well, the market sizing data firmly points to mass structural adoption. Currently, quick commerce commands about 8.9% of the online retail market.
Okay, almost 10%.
But the projections mapped out by ICICI Securities are staggering. By FY30, Q-commerce is expected to capture roughly 30 to 33% of all online retail.
Wait, a third of all online retail in just a few years?
Yeah. We're looking at a sector rocketing from a $6.2 billion market today to a projected $53 to $71 billion market.
That is phenomenal growth.
It is, and the sheer density of the infrastructure proves it's moving way beyond a niche luxury. The report measures this using something called space density.
Space density, what's that?
It's calculating how many square feet of dark store exist per 1,000 people. Bengaluru currently leads the country with about 153 square feet of dark store per 1,000 people.
Wow.
Yeah, that is what a mature, highly adopted market looks like. But if you analyze Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities, the average drops to around 41 square feet per 1,000 people.
Ah, which indicates massive headroom for growth.
Exactly.
As those emerging consumption hubs get accustomed to the speed, these platforms are going to replicate that Bengaluru density across hundreds of other cities.
They have to if they want to win.
But rolling out that kind of physical infrastructure nationwide has triggered a brutal hyperlocal turf war. This has essentially become a game of last man standing.
Oh, the battle for market share is incredibly intense, and we can clearly see who is pulling ahead by looking at the gross order value, or GOV.
Which is the total value of all merchandise sold over the platforms, right?
That's right.
So I see Zomato's Blinkit everywhere now. Are they actually dominating the space, or is it just aggressive marketing?
The financials definitely validate their massive footprint. Blinkit saw its GOV explode from 64.4 thousand million in FY23 to a staggering 2.82 lakh million in FY25.
That is a massive jump.
Yeah, they significantly outpaced Swiggy's Instamart, which still saw incredible growth, moving from 51.1 thousand million to 1.46 lakh million in that same period.
Wow, so Blinkit effectively doubled Swiggy's volume in a very short window.
What's fascinating here is the underlying shift the entire industry is navigating. According to the SWOT analysis in the report, these platforms are transitioning out of their high-investment growth phase,
Then moving into what?
a scale-led consolidation phase. The days of blindly burning venture capital to open stores on every single corner are ending. Now, the operational math has to actually work.
And that math seems punishing, to be honest.
Very.
I mean, securing urban real estate, holding perishable inventory, and paying thousands of gig workers, that is wildly capital intensive. Plus, the profit margins on core grocery items like vegetables or dairy are incredibly thin.
Yeah, the financial realities of different operational models become very clear when you compare the broader new age tech space. Look at Zepto, for instance.
The one founded by the two Stanford dropouts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They executed a blistering high-velocity rollout, rapidly crossed $1 billion in gross merchandise value, and hit a $7 billion valuation.
Huge numbers.
But to achieve that scale, they operated at a heavy loss of INR 33.7 billion in FY25 alone.
33.7 billion. So they're essentially buying market share, hoping they outlast the competition.
Exactly. Now contrast that with another new age service company profiled in the report, like Urban Company.
Right. They handle at-home services like cleaning and repairs.
Yeah, because they operate a managed marketplace model connecting professionals with customers without holding physical inventory or leasing massive warehouses. They actually posted an INR 2.4 billion profit in FY25.
Profit, that's the key word. So the structural difference between moving physical goods instantly versus facilitating services is profound.
Completely different ballgames. For the quick commerce platforms to survive their massive capital burn, they have to dramatically increase their profit per order.
How do they even do that with groceries, though?
Well, the primary survival lever identified in the research is pushing higher ASP, or average selling price, items.
Wait, I need to push back on this strategy a bit.
Okay, go ahead.
If I'm buying a $1,000 smartphone or, a high-end coffee maker, I generally don't care if it takes 10 minutes or 2 days to arrive. I care if I trust the seller and I care about the warranty.
Sure, that makes sense.
So are consumers genuinely pivoting to grocery apps to buy premium electronics just to save a day of waiting?
Surprisingly, they absolutely are. And it really comes down to shifting consumer habits and platform trust.
Oh, because they're already using the app for milk and eggs?
Exactly. Once a user relies on an app for their daily essentials, the friction to order something larger just vanishes.
Yeah.
They already trust the payment gateway, they know the delivery rider will find their apartment, and honestly, the instant gratification becomes addictive.
Okay, I can see that. The convenience factor just overrides the traditional buying journey.
Yeah. But beyond just selling you a phone, the secondary survival lever for these platforms is advertising monetization.
Ah, turning the platform itself into digital real estate.
Precisely. They are transforming their apps into the default search engines for everyday urban life.
Oh, that's smart.
Right. When a major consumer brand launches a new snack or beverage, they are no longer prioritizing highway billboards. They are buying the top search result on Blinkit or Zepto.
Because the return on ad spend at the exact point of purchase is vastly superior. You're getting them moments before a transaction.
Exactly. But here's where it gets really interesting. Because those margins are still so razor thin and consumer demand for absolute speed is just relentless, these platforms cannot just rely on selling expensive items and ads.
They have to innovate on the cost side, too.
Right. They are being forced to invent futuristic ways to cut operational costs and shave vital minutes off their delivery times. We are entering an era defined by rapid technological experimentation in logistics.
Like what? What's the craziest thing they're doing?
Well, one of the most significant structural trends identified is the convergence of dark stores and cloud kitchens.
Cloud kitchens being those commercial facilities that produce food specifically for delivery with no dine-in space at all.
Exactly. While dark stores are optimized for packaged goods and groceries, cloud kitchens are optimized for freshly prepared hot meals.
Okay, so they're bringing them together.
Yeah, what we are seeing is the creation of a dual platform ecosystem. Quick commerce players are physically integrating both models. They're setting up kitchen infrastructure right next to, or even directly inside, their existing dark store networks
Oh, wow. So your hot dinner and your weekly groceries are dispatched from the exact same logistical hub.
using the exact same delivery fleet.
That massively improves their asset utilization. I mean, they aren't sending two different riders to the same neighborhood at the same time.
Exactly. It dramatically increases the throughput per fulfillment node, basically squeezing more revenue out of the same square footage. But the optimization goes much deeper than just the physical layout.
How
The
so?
platforms are deploying highly sophisticated AI predictive demand modeling.
Predictive demand. How does that actually work in practice? It almost sounds like the system is trying to read the customer's mind.
It kind of is. It's correlating massive data sets to anticipate cravings before they even happen. The algorithm doesn't just look at past purchases. It analyzes local weather patterns, traffic conditions, and even local events.
Wait, weather patterns?
Yeah. If the AI detects a sudden spike in humidity and a localized rainstorm approaching a specific 2-kilometer radius, it instantly correlates that with historical data showing a spike in orders for hot tea and fried snacks in that exact neighborhood.
You're kidding.
No, it's real. It then alerts the dark store to pre-position those specific ingredients at the packing stations before the residents even open their apps.
That is mind-bending. The AI acts as the brain of the city's circulatory system, constantly predicting where the demand will flow.
And warehouse robotics are acting as the internal muscles, packing the bags faster than humanly possible.
But the most futuristic element has to be what is happening in the sky. Let's go back to the drones.
Yes. The active drone delivery pilot programs in Bengaluru. They are aiming for sub-10-minute deliveries for select, high-priority use cases.
That's the real sci-fi stuff.
It is. The goal is to completely bypass ground traffic, reduce the carbon footprint of the delivery fleet, and ultimately drive down the sheer cost of last-mile logistics.
Automated hubs dispatching drones that act as the arteries, pumping goods instantly across the city skyline. It paints a phenomenal picture.
It really does. But, this raises an important question regarding feasibility.
Right, because it can't be that simple.
Exactly. As incredible as the AI and drone tech sounds, scaling this in the messy reality of a modern Indian city involves severe operational complexities. Drones face strict airspace management policies.
Not to mention severe payload constraints. A drone can only carry, what, a few kilograms at most?
Exactly. You also have the physical reality of navigating around unpredictable weather, flocks of birds, and dense tangles of overhead wires.
So what does this all mean for the rules of the road? I mean, the biggest hurdle to this 10-minute future isn't just inventing the technology, it's establishing the regulatory frameworks to manage the chaos safely.
Yeah, especially when we're talking about millions of gig workers navigating these streets. The regulatory environment is the ultimate bottleneck right now.
So what's the solution? What does the ICICI report recommend?
The report outlines several potential policy pathways that act as vital government triggers. First and foremost is the urgent need for a uniform gig worker regulation framework across all states.
Because right now it's just a patchwork, right?
It's highly fractured. Different states have completely different legal interpretations of what constitutes a contractor versus an employee. A national logistics network cannot scale efficiently if the fundamental labor compliance rules change every time a rider crosses a state line.
Yeah, a unified framework would need to balance establishing clear standards for wages and hours to protect worker security while, keeping the compliance simple enough that platforms can operate predictably.
Exactly. That balance is crucial.
What about the food itself? If we are merging dark stores and cloud kitchens, the health regulations must be incredibly complex.
They are entirely outdated for this new model. The report highlights the push for updated FSSAI compliance.
The Food Safety and Standards Authority.
Right. They currently operate on regulations built for traditional dine-in restaurants or standard retail grocery stores. App-based delivery requires an entirely new framework tailored to electronic processing, rapid assembly, and cold chain last-mile quality.
Because you really can't regulate an 8,000 square foot automated warehouse that preps hot food and dispatches drones using the same rule book written for a neighborhood cafe.
You really can't. And another massive policy lever here is sustainability.
Right, all those vehicles on the road.
The sheer volume of delivery vehicles required for quick commerce significantly impacts urban emissions. The report points to the necessity of targeted EV subsidies.
Electric vehicles.
Yeah. Incentivizing platforms and delivery partners to adopt electric scooters and bikes serves a dual purpose. It lowers the platform's operating costs per kilometer and meaningfully reduces urban pollution.
It is wild to take a step back and look at the sheer scale of the journey we've just covered today.
It's a lot to process.
We started by examining India's macroeconomic leveling up, how the frictionless digital superhighway of UPI and massive internet adoption created the perfect environment for a retail mutation.
Yeah, and we saw how the industry bypassed the mega warehouse era entirely, giving birth to the hyperlocal dark store.
We analyzed the brutal, multi-billion-dollar turf war between titans like Blinkit, Swiggy Instamart, and Zepto.
And how they're forced to push electronics and in-app advertising just to survive the punishing margins of grocery delivery.
Exactly. And then we looked over the horizon at a rapidly approaching future defined by AI-driven cloud kitchens anticipating our cravings.
And drone-filled skies, bypassing gridlock entirely, all just waiting on the necessary regulatory frameworks to truly take flight.
It's
The
incredible.
ultimate takeaway from this extensive research is that quick commerce has transcended being a mere luxury for the impatient. It is rapidly cementing itself as a structurally integrated utility in urban Indian life.
It's becoming foundational.
It really is. It is dictating commercial real estate zoning through the proliferation of dark stores. It is fundamentally redefining the gig economy labor market. And most profoundly, it is elevating how an entire population values its own time.
It really is a total paradigm shift in human behavior, and it leaves me with one final unscripted thought for you to mull over.
Oh, let's hear it.
If this logistics infrastructure becomes so frictionless and reliable that we can truly get any essential item, any missing ingredient, or any daily product delivered to our hands in less than 10 minutes, how will this alter the physical architecture of our future homes?
That's a great question.
Will the next generation of urban apartments even need to be built with large walk-in pantries or giant double-door refrigerators? Or will the city itself, with its thousands of automated dark stores and delivery drones, simply become our personal, instantaneous storage closet?
Wow.
Think about that the next time you tap order and start the 10-minute clock.